The shocking Jew hunt in Amsterdam leaves the Netherlands shaken. Amsterdam was left shaken after a wave of brutal violence targeting Israeli soccer fans during a Europa League match between Ajax and Maccabi Tel Aviv escalated into what some called a Jew hunt, or what other people have titled a pogrom. Masked youths on scooters and e-bikes prowled the city, reportedly asking victims if they were Jewish or demanding to see passports before launching attacks. Videos captured scenes of young men wielding sticks and firecrackers, with one incident involving a tram vandalized and set ablaze in the city square. The violence, described as Dutch Prime Minister Dick Schulf as shameful and unacceptable, resulted in over 20 injuries and 62 arrests, with 10 Israelis among those detained. Schulf drew a stark distinction, stating, quote, "There is a big difference between destroying things and hunting Jews. Nothing, absolutely nothing, can excuse the deliberate searching and hunting down of Jews." Reports suggest that the attacks were fueled by social media incitement amidst heightened tensions over the Israel Palestine conflict. King Wilhelm Alexander, um, reflecting on the Netherlands' Holocaust history, lamented, "We have failed the Jewish community of the Netherlands during the Holocaust, excuse me, during the Second World War, and last night we failed again." Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu compared the events to Kristallnacht, the notorious anti Semitic pogrom, while calling for stronger measures against rising anti Semitism in Europe. As scrutiny turned to European security members, the UEFA announced the relocation of future matches involving Israeli teams to neutral venues, highlighting the broader implications of violence for Israeli sports fans across the continent. Um, okay, so there is so much to unpack in this story, Armin. Um, whoops. Should we look at the little miniature video first and then dig into it? I think that might be a good idea.
Yes. So yeah, and guys, I know I see your comments regarding, oh, did the Israelis do this? What do you think about this? Did they provoke? Blah blah blah. We're going to add. That's the whole point of this, okay? And this is a good thing that we waited for a week, so we have some. Susie will have some more takes on this. But let's watch this first.
A night of multiple violent attacks in Amsterdam after a soccer match on Thursday night. In these videos, unverified by CBS News, one man cornered as his assailants shouted, "Free Palestine!"
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
Another seen in a canal. Another, apparently unconscious, kicked over and over in what Dutch and Israeli leaders condemned as anti-Semitic. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu deployed several evacuation planes. Israeli Shahar Biton witnessed the attack. He's flying home to Tel Aviv.
And they all waited in groups of 20, 30, just waiting for us. It's not something that someone said, all right, let's just go out of the street and do something. They knew exactly what's going to happen and what they're going to do.
Police arrested more than 60 people. 5 who were attacked were hospitalized. The disorder began earlier when some fans marched in a pro-Israel demonstration. A Palestinian flag on a building was torn down, another set on fire. People chanted death to the Arabs.
As you leave, what are you feeling?
That, although it's going to sound funny, the most safe place on earth for us is Israel, is home. No matter what's going to happen, we're there.
And Israel's National Security Council has issued a warning to all of its citizens overseas to keep a lower profile, fearing copycat attacks. And the office of the mayor of Amsterdam told us that she's banned all public demonstrations for the next 3 days. Nora.
Rami and Asensio, thank you very much.
And by the way, that ban on demonstrations over the following 3 days was violated, and people were arrested once again. So I'm glad we didn't rush into this news, because there is a lot to unpack here, actually. And I wanted to wait until more footage was verified and for more information to come out, because this is, I mean, beyond appalling and also very emotionally activating, obviously. Um so my understanding of the series of events was that this actually happened over a course of days, and I actually didn't understand that at first. So I believe that what happened was that, so there was an incident the night before the actual football match where there were instances of people already being hunted down and harassed, and including Israeli visitors or fans who were staying at the Holland Casino on the Wednesday night before the match. And there were mobs of people who were waiting for these people to leave the casino and go to their hotels. And when people were leaving this casino and they were trying to get police support, the police were not lending them their support. And um so like I said, this happened over a series of days, and some of these attacks started to happen on that day. And also the to be honest, the timeline like is a little bit confusing to me, because then there was like this instance of this flag being ripped down and the Palestinian flag being ripped down. I haven't seen footage of it being lit on fire, but I've heard that reported. Um and then so some people are saying that this is what preempted the attacks, like this provocation, so to speak. But the more I've looked into it, and based on reporting in a lot of different newspapers that are reputable, generally speaking, there seems to be more and more evidence that this was pre-planned and deliberately organized across multiple platforms and among multiple groups well before any of those provocations happened. So what is frustrating to me is that a lot of people are just basically always like, I don't know how to put this. Like, they're closing their eyes to everything else and then once again just blaming it on the Jews for like being there, basically. That's honestly what it comes across as. Because let's be clear, I do not support vandalism. I don't think that it was right that they tore down that flag or burned it. I don't like, obviously, do I fucking hate like soccer hooliganism? Obviously, that had a major ingredient to this whole affair that was toxic. Um, do I think that what they were chanting is okay? Of course not. It's completely unacceptable. Um, the things that the Israeli soccer fans were saying, again, completely unacceptable. I'm not going to make any justification for it. I'm not going to pretend like that's okay. Although we can have actually, there is a point that I do want to make about that, but I'll get there. Regardless of all of that, based on the evidence and research that I've done so far, it seems to me that this was completely pre-planned before any of those provocations, and that it was organized within Uber network drivers. They're saying that they're going to be investigating this. There were, gangs of youths on scooters beating people up. There were, tons of group chats that were leaked where they're talking about going on a Jew hunt, going on Jew Hunt 2.0. Then people are encouraging, when they had their next match in Paris, people were posting on like, okay, French Moroccans, it's your turn now, da 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 da. Like, again, this, and then they had to deploy like 4,000 police to go protect people at the next match in France. 4,000 police? That's insane. Like, so I I'm just very frustrated, because it just always seems to come back to, oh, well, really, it's like the Jews' fault, despite all other evidence. We know that football hooligans can be freaking assholes. I'm frankly, one of the things that I'm glad that I don't live in Europe because I don't have to deal with like English footballers. Those boys be crazy. you know, we know this, but none of that excuses or explains the level of violence and targeted harassment. And there was like, you know, like addresses of where people are staying that was circulated around. Like it was so organized. And if someone is going to make it about the horrible things that the footballers are confirmed to have been saying, let's let's pretend for a moment that maybe it wasn't pre-planned. Maybe this did happen organically because of some provocation, because some Israeli footballers are saying um some ethnically, hate-filled shit. Okay, let's take that on face value for a second. Okay, let's continue the line of argumentation a little bit more and see what let's continue that line of argumentation and see where it takes us. So basically, I don't know about you, I have been witnessing open ethnic provocation towards the Jewish people in my own city for over a year now. Like I have been, and across the world, we have been seeing like Khyber, like let's kill the Jews, let's gas the Jews. We've been seeing open ethnic hatred and provocation across all the major cities around the world for over a year now. Did we see anything mirroring the level of mass gang violence towards the people who were saying those ethnically hatred fueled slogans towards the Jews? No, we didn't. No, we didn't. So if they're saying like, oh, okay, like this is all just because of the racial provocation, blah, 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 blah. What is that the standard now? Is that the standard now? I don't think they like took their argumentation to the full extent. They're like using that as an excuse, where I'm seeing in my own city people chanting in Arabic from the river to the sea, Palestine will be Arab. And I only know this because I understand what they're saying, but other people around me don't know what they're saying in Arabic, but I know what they're calling for in Arabic in my own downtown. So what is the solution then? If someone was running through the streets of my city, like going after these people, demanding to see their passports, demanding to say like, are you Arab? Are you Arab? Like, what's your ethnicity? Are you American? Show me your passport. And then beating the fuck out of them and kicking their skull in. Like, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. So if we're taking the line of like this racial provocation as legitimate, which based on current evidence, I don't think it is this the standard of behavior that we're going for now? That this is justifiable? That this is excusable? Like, pull your head out of your ass. I haven't been seeing anything approaching comparable to this when the provocation is on the other shoe. Like, I don't know. That's been a specific talking point that's been driving me crazy. It's like, well, they were saying this, da 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 da. Like, look at what they're saying. And I'm like, yeah, and look at what people have been chanting all across like Sydney and London and all over the place. And do you see an equivalent response? Like, no. Are you saying that this is acceptable behavior? That just like words? It's just acceptable to just like unleash mass targeted gang violence against people because of some words? I thought we're adults here. Yeah. So, sorry, that was my stream of consciousness rant.
So if I I pretty much agree with you, but if I want to basically put them in a list, first of all, it looks very much pre-planned. So even if you're seeing the footages, even if you want to play the game on who started it by showing the chants, the anti-Arab chants, and taking the Palestinian flags down, even if that was the standard, it seems like the other side was started it before any of this, right? So based on the evidence that we have, okay. So but even if it wasn't pre-planned, this has nothing. What we're seeing is nothing relative to what the so-called pro-Palestinian side is doing. Like, oh, really? Some people on the other side is racist. Oh my God, they took a Palestinian flag down again. Like Susanna said, we do not agree with that behavior, but this is on a completely different level. We're talking about beating people up. We're talking about Jew hunting. Okay, yes, that's
Throwing them in
wrong.
the canal. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah,
going
because-
after like Israelis. They're not going after Maccabee fans. They're saying, "Are you a Jew?"
Right. So relatively, even if we do want to say, okay, yeah, don't take out, this is destruction of someone else's property, racist chants are racist. Sure. But again, that's like level 3, 4, and this is 100 beating people up because they're Jews. Like the fact that you're bringing this up when the focus should be on Jew hunting shows that you always want to find a way to blame the Jews. And then again, as Susanna pointed out, this standard, if we had this standard, then all the you could excuse brutality against Arabs forever, because you will see racist chants, genocidal chants, racist chants from Arabs. I mean, way more than you will see it from the Israeli side. So what now? Are you setting a standard like, well, they started it? Do you know this will make every Arab person everywhere in the world completely unsafe because we have more Arabs chanting racist things and chanting genocidal stuff? And again, not all, but relatively as a percentage higher. So if you want to collectively say like, well, it's open, like they started it, so they brought this upon themselves, you are opening the door to a standard that will leave no Arab safe ever again. And last thing I want to point out is like, look how easy it is to basically find ways to say that the Jews are at fault, because every community of people has its fair share of racists or hooligans or people who do crazy things, right? So if people attack Jews and your response to that is, well, let me go find some people in there that have done something bad so that I don't have to condemn the side that actually attacked the Jews, you will always be able to find something. Of course you will be able to find something. You will be able to find something in every fucking community. In my stream, I basically said, like, you could do this with Black people then. Every time there is a crime or a brutality against Black people, I would be able to go find some Black people that did some bad thing. I could do this with white people. I could do this with Arab people. I could do this with Japanese. I could do this with everybody. But what most people would realize, okay, that's fucking racist. If I see somebody abusing and basically attacking some Black people simply for being Black, and then Armin goes and finds, well, look at what these Black people did over there, you will consider me to be fucking racist. Like, of course I would be able to find examples. Of course. So to me, this shows that, yeah, hey, I have some shocking news for you guys, okay? Both Jewish people and Israeli people will never be able to meet the standard of not having any bad people, okay? I know we're pro-Israeli here, and this is shocking, but that's the standard that apparently people expect from Israel. And if I'm able to find a racist Israeli or a Jewish person that vandalized, then apparently that opens the door to beating the shit out of random Jews in the street, apparently. Okay, so you see, the standard is different for Jews always. Apparently, for you not to beat up Jews, Jews have to be able to become 100% pure, flawless individuals for us to accept not beating the shit out of them. That's the standard.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's an inhuman standard. One thing that's been also frustrating me is like we this is what Zaid said in the super chat is a good segue. We need to understand something like very, very, very clearly that we talk about things in a certain way and equivocate with them in a certain way in the Western sphere. And we have zero to no awareness of how it is communicated and telegraphed to the rest of the world. Here's a perfect example. Zaid is a member of our community. He lives in Jordan. Zaid is one of my good friends. He texts me after this happened and he goes, Susanna, in my neighborhood, all the restaurants and cafes and cafeterias and so forth are giving 50% discounts to anyone that is ethnically Moroccan in celebration of what happened in Amsterdam.
Wow. What the fuck?
So
Are
let's
you
break
serious?
down what that means. That means that they view this and understand it clearly within themselves and within their own culture as a Jew hunt. They don't equivocate about any racial provocation or whatever. And they openly celebrate it as such to the point that they are willing to give 50% discounts to any random person that happens to share the same ethnicity as other people who were going around assaulting Jews, terrorizing them, and throwing them in the fucking canal. So this is what I mean. We can equivocate like all we want about why this happened or what led up to it. But what is telegraphed and understood with absolute clarity to millions of people around the world is that this is good and worthy to be celebrated because it is a way to attack and terrorize Jews. There is no what's the word I'm looking for? There's no muddiness to it. They understand it and see it clearly. And they see it as that clearly. So that's why I don't think it's healthy to be quibbling about what caused this when other people are reading it with absolute clarity that this is what it is and that that was good and that we celebrate it to the point that we're just going to go give discounts to any random person of a similar ethnicity. Like, I also think that this is a way for people in Europe to once again close their eyes to the issue of Islamism. They don't want to come to terms with the issue of Islamism in their societies. They don't want to come to terms with the fact that the worst anti-Semitism that they are going to continue to see within their societies are coming from people of immigrant descent. They don't want to come to terms with that because it's going to be extremely uncomfortable. It's not going to be politically expedient. And because they don't want to come to terms with that and address it accordingly, they want to keep quibbling. Um they're not going to actually call it by its name. They're not going to say, "Oh, this is its own specific form of anti-Semitism. It comes from Islam. It's been passed down from generations. Second, third generation citizens of our countries are not getting integrated. In fact, they're getting more radicalized." Um, like I don't know what I really cannot like even explain what's going on with the attitudes of people in positions of power and governments in Europe. Um It's to the point where I'm familiar with people who are applying for passports in foreign nations outside of Europe. Um, because I think the generational trauma of Jews is thinking about why didn't people in the 20th century leave sooner? Why didn't they see the warning signs and leave sooner? And I know people in my personal life who have committed that they will never make that mistake again. And what that means is that they are already making backup plans and they are already preparing to have a way of escaping should they need to. They want to stay and keep up the good fight for as long as they can, but in the meantime, they need to start thinking about plan B, and many already are. And that is such a stark condemnation of what's happening in Europe. I frankly don't even have words for it. I know someone who actually left Amsterdam over 20 years ago to come to America because of how bad the anti-Semitism was that she experienced from Islamists. Um, that was 20 years ago. And I when I found that out about why she came here, I didn't understand it. I understand it clear as day now. I understand it with absolute clarity now. That was 20 years ago that she left the Netherlands. 20 years ago, what happened with the whole Ion Hersey Ali affair, where she was warning them with absolute clarity 20 years ago. And what did they do? They worked to undermine her, strip her of her citizenship with some naive belief that if you can shut up the person that is identifying the problem will go away. We've been seeing this in the UK as well. If you shut down the people who can identify the problem, they're the real troublemakers. They're the troublemakers because they're making the general public believe in a problem that doesn't exist, blah, blah, blah. Instead of, no, actually, they are identifying an issue that's very inconvenient and uncomfortable, but you're unwilling to come to terms with it. So it's easier for you to kick out the person who can identify the problem and basically say that they're the ones causing the problems by virtue of them being able to identify it, instead of actually do a course correction. Yeah,
So
sorry,
I
that
just want to
that just
also
went off.
remind everybody that this confirms Zionism. Again, remember how some people say, why did Jews need Israel? Europe and United States is safe enough. And throughout history, every time Jews felt that a place is safe, at some point it turned on them. And this shows that there's no way to rely on any country, even the United States. There needs to be a country called Israel. We're talking about the deepest, most fundamental, most ancient, most deep-rooted hatred that exists, most insistent hatred that exists in history, in since ancient Rome, that is global, that is ever present. It's insane. Like this justifies, if nothing else, if you put everything else aside, this by itself justifies supporting a country called Israel where Jews could go feel safe. I mean, these people who are attacking Jews in Europe, I mean, we're talking about liberal countries. These are supposed to be the most stable, most advanced, most secure countries in the world, and Jews cannot feel safe there. We need to have a country called Israel for Jews. These people are confirming, these are also a lot of Israelis have forgotten, people forget. A lot of Jews, especially American Jews, European Jews, sometimes think like, oh yeah, this feeling before October 7th, they thought like not feeling safe as a Jew was something for our parents and our grandparents. The world has changed. And now a lot of these other Jews are convinced like, okay, no, we need Israel. we can never, no country could guarantee our safety to us except our own country.
Such a freaking moral condemnation. I can't even.
Oh, we have to
can't
remember
deal.
to read the article comments, but let's do so you highlight. You kept it. Yes, John was asking me.
Stupid
Susie
fucking
started.
question.
John, I don't know what you think I'm gonna ask. Like, do you think I'm gonna say yes to this question? I don't know why you're asking this question. So John is Armin. Would you beat someone who tears down the Iranian flag and insults the Iranian people racially? No, John, I would not. I'm a civilized person, okay? I would not. I might make a stream about that person. I might call them out. I would not beat them up. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck did you think I would answer? What? Like, first of all, I don't know why John is asking that. Maybe I'm misunderstanding this question. Do you genuinely thought that I might say yes, I would beat them up? And also, this doesn't even reflect what's happening here in this story, because even if somebody tore down a flag that you liked or insulted the people that you like, even that would not justify hitting that specific person. But what we're seeing here in the story is even more crazier than that, because they went and found random Jews. They didn't go find exactly that person that turned down that flag. Your question should have been, Armin, would you beat somebody that is somehow associated by guilt by association from a member of the community of the person who tore down an Iranian flag? So if I say to yes to this question, that's already insane. But the actual question should be even something else, and yes to that would be even more insane. Somebody tore down the Iranian flag, and then I went and beat up somebody else by just because he was the same race or ethnicity or whatever. I don't know. That's what's happening. You have some other start comments that you wanted to highlight?
Then John was saying, excuse me, but who would leave Amsterdam to go to that shithole called the USA? Well, you know what I find very entertaining, John, is that now that there's this new election and people have decided to become untethered from reality and start to entertain fantasies that they are going to leave the US for Canada or Europe, you know what I say to them? And these are conversations I'm having in real life. Oh, well, what about the way that your salary would be halved or turned into a third of what it is now? Suddenly they don't want to leave. I'm just gonna say that. Asian American is saying, if NATO wants American protections, they need to pay American taxes. A million eagles. Also, no taxation without representation. Hey. Okay, you know. I love Asians parodies. Amit Das is saying it looks pre-planned because the rioters who are arrested, not only from Amsterdam City, but different part of the Netherlands, some are said to have come from Germany to participate in riots. That's crazy if true. I haven't seen any reporting about this. Then Jack is asking a question.
Well, don't highlight that because we want to keep it about the story, and then after we finish the story, because we didn't read the comments. Do you want to? Okay, what is this one? These are the comments D has highlighted for us.
So basically, D went and found a bunch of reactions on social media. So this is, another person saying that the ripping down of a flag makes this entire situation completely justified. We've been seeing we've been seeing vandalism of Israeli flags and Israeli iconographies across the world for an entire year, to the point that recently there was that hilarious instant where a girl went and tore down a bunch of Greek flags because she's too fucking dumb to Greek flag.
I mean, it's
don't
blue
know.
and white.
It doesn't have the Star of David on it.
I see blue and white. I see red. I go crazy.
And you know what we didn't see in response to that is mass ethnic targeting. I'm just saying. Okay, go to the next one.
Wait, I should have that video ready. Oh yeah, that's a good video here. Which one? Do you want to read the?
Yeah, this was a reaction to the news coming out. Basically reflecting what you say, Armin. These types of violence attacks against Jews show the world once again why Israel is necessary. If you scroll down, there was another one I wanted to highlight.
More down?
No, keep going.
This one?
Yeah. So basically, in response to the footage of this attack, this person just says, normalize anti-Semitism. You know? And that, again, just want to hammer home the point of we can quibble over why this or that caused the attack. The fact of the matter is that it is being understood by millions of people specifically as desirable because it is going after the Jewish people. So I don't find the quibbling particularly healthy or useful. So a few more comments in the live chat. Sarah is saying, Shalom from Tel Aviv. Susanna, you have the same birthday as Danny DeVito. Well, I mean, and I'm honored too. Thank you very much. And Jean brought up a good point saying, I do want to say that some Arab fans of Maccabi Tel Aviv helped protect their Jewish friends. It's definitely a culture thing. Yeah, I have heard anecdotes of this one guy, I think he was an Israeli Druze who was running around speaking in Arabic to people to try to throw off the gangs that were hunting down people. Which, by the way, for all the people that are like, oh, there's absolutely no proof that it was Moroccan Dutch doing this stuff, da 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 da. And I'm like, okay, well, what about like all of the videos I'm watching where I'm hearing like people screaming in Arabic to each other, like people are explicitly avoiding being assaulted because they can speak in Arabic, like I don't know about that.
Before you go to the super chat, let's watch this one.
Oh, this is hilarious.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So this is a lady. Where is this? I don't know where this is. Somewhere in the US, I think. And this lady passes a Greek restaurant and she sees all these Greek flags, and she thinks because they're blue and white, she thinks these are Israeli flags. So she starts staring them down. Wait, watch this.
Look at that shit. And I'm about to come back and put Free Palestine too. The Free Palestine, bitch. Look, what's she looking at? You know damn well there's a genocide. You know there's a genocide. Now stop it. I'm taking this shit down. I believe this one. Take this one down right here. What are they gonna do? They can't do nothing. I don't stand for it. I don't stand for it. I don't stand for this. There's genocide, and I don't stand for Zionism. And Montclair, I don't support it. There's a genocide. You know that, right? They're killing children. What's the purpose? Be proud of your heritage. Y'all understand there's a genocide, right? You understand, right?
Oh my God.
There's nothing against people who are Jewish, but this is not okay.
This is Greeky.
Who's this?
This is Greeky.
What? Really?
Greeky.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was Israel. My bad. Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit, my bad.
What?
Bro.
Look, it looked like Israel. Okay, well. You want it back?
Bro.
Are you sure? Let me look this up right
Let me look this up. Okay, when this happened, I remember telling Armin about this, and I'm like, how the fuck do you do this? Have this embarrassing interaction with two people? You look it up, you realize that you're wrong, and you make the decision to edit and post it. There are so many steps that go into that decision. Why would you post this? I can't deal with it. Like,
I wanted
Also,
to capture this moment in his face.
and then he's like, "It's Greeky. It's
His face
Greeky."
is so. It's like, what the fuck is happening right now?
She sounds like a freaking bot. The only word coming out of her, genocide, 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 genocide. Can you give me something else, please? Okay. Oh my lord. I don't know. See, I have too much shame to post something like this. Maybe what would my life be like, Armin, if I was this level of untethered from shame? I'd be unstoppable.
She's like, oh, my bad. And then she starts looking it up. She starts looking it
Do you want this back? And they're like, yeah. Like,
yeah. Okay, so people in the chat, okay, we got a super chat. People saying, is Khamenei dead? Guys, there's some news regarding Khamenei being in coma. Don't trust stuff like we get that at least once or twice a year. They kill Khamenei apparently, and they bring him back to life. Okay, so do not believe the stories, these types of stories, until you hear it in, somewhere reputable, like I don't know, like Reuters, AP, France 24, DW, somewhere like that. Like not these rumors. Don't believe these rumors that are spreading on social media until you get some more credible sources for that, because this happens so often. Oh, Khamenei is about to die. Khamenei is in coma. There's no evidence for that right now. And also, when you see certain mainstream media covering it, read what they're saying. Are they saying it happened, or are they saying there are social media rumors about it? Because even they sometimes might report on the rumor, but the news is not that this happened. The news is that the rumors are happening. So just be careful about what you're reading. All right. So, do you want to read the?
Jack Johnson gave a super chat saying, "What hate speech should be illegal? Dehumanization, advocating genocide, false generalizations such as most Muslim men are pedophile." PDF files, excuse me, YouTube, you didn't hear that. If hate speech likely inspires violence, should it be banned? No, I am against hate speech laws. Incitement to violence should be banned. It is already an offense. Harassment should be illegal. That is already an offense. Fraudulent activities, attempts of deception in economic transactions is already an offense. Well, I'm speaking mostly as an American, obviously.
The US has the right balance, basically. If I tell you that this will cure your cancer, buy it from me, that should be legal. If I say, hey, go eliminate that person and I will pay you, that should be legal. So I think the right balance is the US balance. When it comes to secularism, I think France has got it right. When it comes to free speech, I think the US has done the best, right? When it comes to trying to stop these things from happening, reducing people's speech doesn't work. In fact, it will have the opposite effect. So if you think that you're going to stop these things from happening just because you passed a law telling people that they're naughty if they talk about it, no, it doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. I'm sorry. You're not going to be able to reduce these ideas from spreading just because you wrote the law about it, especially now with social media. So let's go to
we got a few more super chats. John is saying, Armin, would you support this over 300 movie? Joke.
Would you support what? Would you support? I don't get the joke.
I'm sorry, John. I don't get the joke.
I don't get the joke. Your joke is too intelligent for us. It's basically going over our heads.
Okay. Gasian, in response to the video of the Greek girls, and she's holding herself accountable, and we need more people admitting when they are wrong. An Uber driver told me he was shocked to see Maoists in America. I mean,
okay,
yes, we do. I appreciate that.
Yes,
I agree, and that's something we try to model on this channel. I'm just speaking from like a personal level. Like, why as an individual, like, why would you post that?
Maybe maybe they're just too. Maybe they're just like they don't. Yeah, I made it. Maybe they're like I was dumb. Here, see me being. Maybe actually we should appreciate that. Maybe somebody realized that they were dumb. Actually, I don't appreciate that person because she's still anti-Israeli, probably. But I do. Maybe we should appreciate somebody. Be like, oh, I was stupid, and here's my stupidity. Watch it and enjoy it. So maybe we should be. That's a good
I don't
attitude to
know.
have.
Once again, who needs enemies when you have friends like this? I freaking weep for any group of people that has this absolute idiocy as their representatives overseas.
Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube, blasphemous art ever? We do! And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.